behold the sword of Elendil. Should I just have it here? Kind of like what I do in my Game of Thrones videos, just have like Longclaw, just like here. I don't know. So we finally have a main trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. There've been a couple of teasers in the build-up to Comic-Con, and overall, I would say I am looking forward to Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I have liked these trailers. I'm not going to suddenly be all disingenuous and be like, I hated it, oh, they've gone all woke with Tolkien, it looks crap, it's going to be crap and shit. No, I'm not going to do that because that's disingenuous, and this is my opinion, and one of the reasons why you tune into my channel is to hear my opinion, and so I'm not going to be spewing off someone else's opinion about woke agenda and all that blah 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 bullshit, because there's no, I don't feel that way. I'm watching this trailer for The Rings of Power, and I'm like, yeah, this looks good. I can't wait to see it. The latest trailers and teasers have done a good job at raising my anticipation level for this show. I think it looks good now. Visually, I'm much more happy with it. I can see the Peter Jackson, Andrew Lesnie blooming in the highlights. I can see the more filmic look to it. Some of the cinematography and some of the shots in these trailers look gorgeous. The overall production design looks great. Granted, there are a couple of things like the printed on scale mail and all that stuff that is really cheap and kind of really like decreases the production value, and it kind of makes you go, what did you spend $500 million on? But no, overall I think it looks good. I'm genuinely intrigued by the show. There hasn't been much story in these trailers, which I think is fine. I think like trailers are a piece of marketing. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most in-depth thing. And I mean, that's kind of the double-edged sword to movie trailers. There's an art form to it because you either show too much of the film or you show too little of the film or TV show, whatever. And at the end of the day, by showing either too little or too much, it hurts the product in the end. But the stuff they've shown for the Rings of Power now have gotten me more excited. I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, yeah, I will watch this show and I will be looking forward to it because I think it looks good. The trailer has sold me a lot more on the casting of Morfydd Clark as Galadriel. I mean, looking at her and hearing her talk, I'm like, yeah, I can see this character growing into Cate Blanchett in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Highlighting more of the Dwarven cast too was also really great because I think the actor playing Durin is like spot on. Every time the dwarves were on screen, I was like, yes, this is giving me the Hobbit trilogy vibes, but like in a good way, because honestly, the casting of the dwarves in the Hobbit trilogy were fantastic. They were all perfectly cast. And obviously, Balin is like so well done in those movies. And the actor playing Durin looks like Balin, and I think that's so good. I'm also won over by the look of Lenny Henry's Harfoot character, because the first images of Lenny Henry as the Harfoot, I was like, I don't get it. What is the wig? What have they done? Why does he look like that? He looks so stupid. I don't know if it's the fact that the look has grown on me or if just the fact that it looks better in motion, but for some reason, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh yeah, the hairstyle, it kind of reminds me of Bull Roarer Took, like the hairstyle he has, and I'm like, I kind of dig it now. Though, I do think they did my boy dirty by giving him a really horrible hairline. It's like, come on, this is Sir Lenny Henry here. Don't give him a hairline like that. But also getting more of a sense of the tone, seeing the orcs, the practical orcs look amazing, seeing Sauron in action. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the Buzz bleach blonde hair look. I do kind of wish Sauron's hair was a bit longer, but I think having Sauron there is kind of interesting and cool. Like, I want to see how Sauron develops throughout the show. Seeing a little bit more of the political conflict, seeing Minas Tirith and seeing the Tree of Light and all that stuff looks so good. Plus, they end the trailer by showing us a Balrog of Morgoth. What did you say? A Balrog of Morgoth. What did you say? They're taking the hobbits to Isengard! The Urks head northeast! They're taking the hobbits to Isengard! Now, I'm not saying these trailers are perfect or anything, but from a visual perspective, from a cinematography perspective, from a overall editing and narrative sense, I'm looking forward to the Rings of Power. I mean, again, there are things I'm not entirely fond of. Like, I don't really like the look of young Elrond. Like, to me, I don't see this guy becoming a younger Hugo Weaving. Because I'm going to be honest here, the actor playing young Elrond, to me, is always going to be ingrained in my brain as young Ned Stark. And so every time he's on screen, I'm just going to see young Ned Stark. No. Now it ends. I'm also not particularly fond of the elf, the short-haired elf. Just, there's something about it that's just weird. I don't like it. The really, like, buff one that's in the trailer a lot, I don't like the look of the short-haired elf. Give him longer hair. I don't like it. I also wish there was a little bit more insight into the narrative of this first season. Like, what is the story? Because from what I can gather so far, it's just there's an evil rising and Galadriel's like, oh, we have to keep fighting. But everyone's like, no, it's peacetime, Galadriel. Calm down. And Galadriel's like, no. There's like bad things gonna happen. That's kind of it. It's like, what's the actual story though? What's gonna happen? I'm also curious to see how things are gonna play out in terms of the realms of men, because Isildur is in this, Elendil is in this, and it's kind of like, how do they factor into all this? Also, speaking of Elendil and Isildur, where is Narsil? This is obviously Andorra, but like, where is it? Like, there's like a sword they show in the trailer, but that don't look like this. Where's Narsil? Is this going to be a thing where, like, they have to earn Narsil throughout the seasons? Because, again, I'm predicting this. Apparently, they've, like, planned out the show for 5 seasons. And in the 5th season, it's going to end with, I'm assuming, and this is my prediction, it's going to end with the last alliance of elves and men as they march into Mordor, and obviously they beat Sauron and the whole Lord of the Rings stuff happens. But, I mean, as a sword guy, where is Narsil? Where is the Sword of Kings? I want to see that. And to wrap things up, overall, I do think the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power looks good. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to deny the fact that I think it looks good, because that would be disingenuous. There are things about the trailer I don't necessarily like, and I do think certain things like the printed on scale mail is very cheap and lazy, and it's kind of like, what did you spend your budget on? But the overall show looks cinematic, and I hope at the end of the day it's good. Like, I don't see a point in crapping on something for the sake of, you know, getting clicks and views on the internet, because no, that's just like what you like. If you don't like it, then that's fine. But if it's the matter of, I'm doing this just so I can be all outraged on the internet and, you know, get mass support and all that kind of stuff, that's disingenuous to me. I don't like that. Like, I'm going to bring up the Night's Watch gang, not out of hate or anything, I love those guys, but seeing their videos on these teasers, they keep complaining about how all the trailer dialogue is all non sequiturs and all that, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's how trailer editing is done. You use lines that are out of context to make things seem more epic or more dramatic. And yeah, that's just how modern trailer editing goes nowadays. You're looking at a piece of media, a piece of story out of context. Like, of course it's not going to make sense because they're trying to make it short, sweet, to the point to grab people's attention. Again, no hate to the Night's Watch guys. I love Shad, I love Oz, I love Nathan, I love Claudia, I love all those guys. It's just that, you know, just complaining about that, to me, it's just a bit silly. Like, it's a trailer. Like, of course it's going to be out of context stuff. The whole point is that you're supposed to put your best foot forward with the trailer. And so random, out of context dramatic lines make sense because you want the thing to feel dramatic and exciting and epic. Also, I'm not lumping those guys in the crowd that are just hating on the show for the sake of hating it. Like, no. Like, I love those guys. I enjoy their content a lot. It's just that that's just the thing I've noticed when I've been watching their trailer reactions, is that, like, they complain about, like, non sequiturs in the dialogue, and it's like, yeah, but that's trailer editing. That's how they do it now. And to be honest, that's kind of how they've always done it. Like, you go back and you watch trailers, they randomly just pull out random lines, and they're just like, okay, that line doesn't make sense in context of the trailer, but sure, yeah, that's fine. But anyways, I digress. I am looking forward to the show now. I think it looks good, but that's kind of it. I'm not entirely blown away by the trailers or anything, but I'm excited. Seeing things like a Balrog of Morgoth, a Sauron, bits of the Shire, the cinematography, the look of Minas Tirith, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. But those are just my thoughts on the Lord of the Rings of Power trailer. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe. I can't do the thing. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. And until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.